Welcome to the Fort Wayne Museum of Art new series, Masterpiece. In this series, we'll explore throughout the glass galleries in the new glass wing various pieces of glass made in different ways that we consider masterpieces done by master artists. Let's spend a minute before we actually look at this vessel talking about mastery, because the estimate is essentially for a glass artist to work in the studio 10,000 hours before mastery is achieved. Now that's technical mastery. Of course, interior mastery, spiritual mastery, creative mastery may take even longer than that. But that could really be 5 years if you're 40 hours a week. For many glass artists, they're probably 60 to 80 hours a week, and that could come faster. Now, Deanna Clayton, whose vessel we're going to explore today, has been doing this for almost 30 years now, and she was very lucky to get into glass in a community college, got her associate degree. It's exactly what Harvey Littleton, the founder of Studio Glass, wanted people to be able to do: graduate high school, find a college that had an art program, and in that art program, there'd be a glass part of that program. And Deanna followed that path and found that glass within the art program was the really only medium that she enjoyed. Now, she works in a timeless manner of pate verre, and that means glass paste. So the vessel we have before us, the cobalt and red vessel, is going to be formed, not blown at the end of a pipe, not cast in the traditional sense of filling a deep mold, but there is a mold, and that mold is going to have two parts, the top half and the bottom half, and she's going to take that glass paste that she's worked up. It starts as clear, and she'll introduce her minerals to it where she wants the colors to show up and or change or interact. Then the paste, first by hand and then with some tools, is pressed into both those molds so that you get the detail where you want the detail. The color is staying in the areas of the mold where you want that color to be the strongest. Blue, for instance, here, a little bit lighter in the latticery that's on the top. That then will go into the kiln, probably about 1,800 to 2,000 degrees, and that'll cook. Now, in all glass, the cooking process is a delicate one because you want enough heat to melt everything to the degree you want it melted, but you don't want it so warm that it runs in your mold. So she's been at this for so many years. She understands exactly what her temperatures need to be, and she knows when it needs to come out. Now, glass that's heated that high when it comes out actually has to begin a very slow cooling process. So there's another kiln, an annealing kiln, and she'll take those pieces and get them into an annealing kiln or oven, and that temperature will come down from 1,000 to 900, 800, until gradually we're approaching room temperature, and then the pieces can come out. Now that may take days, sometimes it'll take almost 2 weeks, depending on the size of the piece and how much heat is contained there. But you have to be patient and let that time happen and the cooling process happen just as it will. Now, you do your tests, your temperature tests, to make sure it's safe to go in and retrieve your top half and your bottom half from those molds, and then some magic is going to happen. Now, unlike any artist I've known before, Deanna decided that one of the most exciting things about her vessels wasn't just the shape, but it was where the shapes met, that there was a jagged, ragged edge. It's full of tension, and it looks precarious as though this could break at any time. However, we're going to find out how she avoids that happening. She is going to electroplate the edges of the top half and the bottom half, the ragged edges. She coats them first with a chemical, puts them in the bath so that the electrolytes will cling to those chemicals, and put copper, in this case, on those areas, top and bottom. They have to come out. They get to room temperature again. They're dry. They're ready to work with. And she will go in and actually solder the connections in certain places around the rim of the piece, and then cover the solder with more copper plating to hide the solder joints. I've never tried this, but she tells me that I should be totally unafraid of just picking this piece up and placing it on a different shelf or pedestal. I think I'll wait till my professional technicians come in and do that. Now, Deanna also makes exciting figurative work. We don't have her figurative work yet in the museum, although I look forward to having some in the near future. But I have to tell you how many people stop to see this vase and just to gasp at the beauty of it and the tension of it, that it looks so fragile and yet it is so solid, so tight. Speaking of being solid, it's actually quite heavy. It's about 42 pounds, and that brings you to question in the studio, is she doing this all alone? No, she'll have a good studio team. They'll help her each step. Although I will tell you that the lead artist always seems to want to have hands-on a little bit more, but with glass, the weight, the heat, those kind of tensions, it's pretty common that they're going to let their technicians, who they've probably worked with for years, do whatever they need to do to help her with this piece. It's a gorgeous piece. It's a masterpiece. I thank you for joining me today where we talked about Deanna Clayton's masterpiece, Cobalt and Red Vessel.